In Australia, you need to finalize your payroll information for the financial year by the 14th of July. I often hear STP finalization, oh, it's just a button click in Xero. And honestly, that's not wrong. The actual submission takes about 30 seconds max. But here's what that advice leaves out. That button click is only safe if you have done the work before it. If your payroll data isn't reconciled, if your details are out of date, or if a pay run is still sitting there unfiled, clicking that button just generates problems for you. So in this video, I will walk you through the practical year-end STP finalization process in Xero, and more importantly, what you should check before you press submit. Before we go into Xero, let me explain quickly what STP finalization actually is. STP stands for Single Touch Payroll. Throughout the year, every time you filed a pay run in Xero, that data was sent to the ATO in real time. So ATO already has a picture of what you have been paying your employees. STP finalization is the signal that says we are done. Payroll for the financial year is complete and correct. No more pay runs will be processed for the financial year, and our numbers are final. All wages, deductions, superannuation and fringe benefits sent during the year to ATO match our payroll records. That's what we are saying with that one click. Once STP finalization is done, employees can usually see their income statements in MyGov portal as tax ready, and they can use that information to lodge their individual tax returns. By doing the finalization, the employers are no longer required to provide physical payment summaries or group certificates to employees. So again, with the finalization, we tell ATO our payroll for the year is closed and complete. Xero does have a detailed year-end payroll checklist, and it is worth using. I'll link it in the description below. But in this video, I'm going to focus on the practical checks I wouldn't skip at all. Our aim is simple. Before finalizing STP, we want to make sure the payroll data is complete, correct, up to date, and reconciled. Let's get into it. So for the STP finalization, head to Payroll, then Single Touch Payroll. Here in the Needs Attention block, you will see that finalization is still outstanding. Click to the blue link to start the process. Before doing anything else, check that the financial year here in the top right-hand side of the screen is correct. Make sure you are finalizing the correct financial year. Alternatively, from the overview, just select the Finalization tab. You'll land on the same screen. If there are any major issues, you will see in this screen. Like if you have unfiled pay runs, Xero will notify you that you need to file all individual pay runs before starting the finalization. It's important that before you start the reconciliation, all of your pay runs for the financial year have been filed. Also, ask yourself, is there any pay run that still needs to be processed for the financial year, like a commission payment or a payment to a director or a bonus? You'll need to do those before you finalize STP. Okay, we are now on the finalization screen where you can see all the employees you have processed pay run for during the year, both active and terminated. And here are their annual payroll data. So what do we do? If you have paid fringe benefit to the employees and it hasn't been populated, click to this button and add manually the respective amounts and save. RFBA stands for Reportable Fringe Benefits Amount. Not every business provides fringe benefits to employees. As my demo company didn't provide any fringe benefits, I will leave these empty. But if that's relevant for your business, please pay attention as FBT tax year is different to the normal financial year. It runs from 1st April to 31st of March. And you need to make sure that the correct amount is included for the relevant employee. I would strongly recommend checking with your accountant if you are not sure. Okay, let's move on. Very important, you can bring up the STP reports from here. Just click View Reports. You will see the very detailed payroll data on company level as well as for each employee. So let's start our checking process. The first thing to check is your organization details. Make sure the legal name, ABN, and the branch code are correct. Once I had a case where the company's ABN had accidentally been overwritten during the year by one user. As it was an existing ABN of another company, the wages were being reported under the wrong ABN for many months without an error message at all. And we picked it up only at year-end. Let me tell you, that was not a small job to fix at all. So since then, I regularly check the ABN in Xero files, but at least annually before STP finalization. It's a must. Next, check the employee details. The ATO needs to identify the employee correctly, so make sure the employee records are complete and accurate. Check their full name, their date of birth, tax file number, and employment details. If employee details are missing or incorrect, you may get filing errors, or the information may not match properly with the ATO. This is also a good time to check terminated employees. If someone left during the year, make sure that termination details have been handled correctly in the payroll. Then comes the payroll data reconciliation. This is the part where I want you to slow down. This is the most important step in the whole process. You want to compare the annual payroll reports and make sure the numbers make sense. At a minimum, I would look at the payroll reports in Xero and compare them against what has been processed and reported. Let's start with the totals. Open up the payroll activity summary report for the financial year. The total earnings, PAYG and Super, needs to match the STP report. A tricky area can be the super salary sacrifice that sits in the deduction section of the payroll activity summary report. On the STP screen, the gross total is without the salary sacrifice, and the superannuation includes the salary sacrifice. Hence, you need to make some calculations when checking these against the payroll activity summary report. The other report is the general ledger summary for the financial year, and we are again checking the same totals, wages and super. If you're splitting up any of these into two or more accounts like direct wage or admin wage and so on and so forth, please make sure you sum those accounts up before matching. A useful note here is that PAYG withholding payable is a liability account, hence the total annual amount will be in the credit column of the report. If that's done, I like to go through each employee's data and compare the employee's payroll report to the payroll activity summary report for that particular employee. If the employee had anything unusual during the year, like termination payment, paid parental leave, director fees, bonuses, salary sacrifice, or reportable fringe benefits, pay closer attention to it. If something doesn't look right, do not ignore it. Work out why the variance is there. Sometimes the issue is a pay item mapped incorrectly. Sometimes a correction was done in accounting but wasn't put through payroll. Sometimes an employee's opening balance or prior payroll data is incorrect. The fix always depends on the issue. You may need to process an adjustment pay run, correct the settings of the pay item, update the employee details, or fix the STP filing issue. The key point is, do the checks and don't submit your finalization with figures that don't reconcile. Once everything is fine, you are ready to finalize STP. Check again the financial year before submitting anything to ATO. Now select the employees you want to finalize. In many cases, you may finalize everyone at the same time, but there might be situations where you may finalize employees in batches. For example, you might be ready to finalize normal employees or casual staff, but you are still waiting on final director payments or closely held employee payments. In that case, you may choose to finalize some employees first and leave others until their payroll information is complete. Once you have reviewed everything, selected the relevant employees, and you are comfortable with the numbers, you can submit the finalization. A confirmation page pops up where you can double-check once more, then accept the authorization and submit to ATO. After submission, you will see a lock symbol indicating that the employee's STP data has been finalized for that financial year. As for the status, once submitted, the status will change to pending, and when ATO accepted the filing, the status will change to finalized. Therefore, I recommend checking back a couple of days later to check the status after submission to make sure it has been accepted and there are no filing errors or issues needing attention. I also recommend keeping the copy of the finalization reports for your records. Now, what happens if you find a payroll mistake after finalization? It can usually be corrected, but it really depends on the issue. You may need to make an adjustment and submit an amended STP finalization. If that's the case, you come back to the STP finalization screen, select the employee, and click the three dots and unlock. Then you can fix the error, file the unscheduled pay run, and come back and do the finalization again, but don't forget going through the checking process once again. So you can make a correction, but it should be an exception, which is exactly why we do the thorough checking beforehand. So the year-end STP finalization process in Xero is not exactly just a click of a button. If you have a simple payroll structure with a handful of employees on salaries, the process won't take too much time and effort. However, if you have a more complex payroll with overtime, allowances, deductions, the reconciliation process can actually take days. So please take your time, don't leave it until the last minute. Do the checks and make sure the reported payroll data is correct for the year and you are giving the ATO payroll information that has actually been checked. As usual, if any comments or questions, please reach out. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel so you get notified when a new Xero video is available. See you in the next one.